Good morning, I'm Chris Edwards, and coming up on the Elon Phoenix Weekly.
My name is Emmanuel Morgan, and I met Chris Edwards my freshman year at Elon, which is the fall 2015. He was a year older than me, but still, I looked up to him. He was a great mentor of mine. We always talked about sports, always talked about our craft, always talked about how we can get better, how we get other people better.
I'm hitting like 2 panic buttons right now. You see this? I'm hitting a panic button.
Absolutely.
Because you got shut out by the Chargers, who were just a trash team in general.
Stadium.
And B, the fact is, like, they have like the worst scoring offense right now. It's like literally dead last in the league. They're only averaging about 10 points a game right now ever since week 2. If you let Trevor Siemian try to beat you, you are going to lose.
No one goes through life alone, and along the way, there are countless numbers of people who will inspire you and push you to really be the best you can be, and Chris was one of those people.
If you're spending more than the Yankees, you have a problem. You have a spending Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian kind of spending problem.
You know, thinking back, I think one of the memories that, always comes to mind when I think of Chris is working at EPW. We recorded on Monday mornings at 8 a.m. And so it was right after the weekend. Everybody was typically pretty groggy or tired, but Chris always showed up with a big smile on his face, a lot of positive energy and just very energetic, and that was infectious. The rest of the team, the rest of the crew, all kind of picked up on that, and he just made those Monday mornings a little bit better.
So my sophomore year, I also studied abroad in January, but I went to Costa Rica and did a ecotourism tour. So where I basically learned about Costa Rican culture, learned about the Spanish culture as well, basically immersed right from the get-go. So just being a part of that and learning like how developed this country is, even though it's considered third world, it was such an amazing experience.
I encourage those of you who never got a chance to know Chris or to work with him, or those who did work with him, to find somebody in the organization that can serve as your Chris Edwards. Somebody that is not afraid to tell you when you've messed up, but can really mentor you and really cares about not only the future of the organization, but you as a person.
Next, we bring in Cam to talk about a very sensitive issue in mental health. Now, Cam, could you give me like some kind of like an idea about what inspired you to talk about mental health in sports?
Yeah, so a lot of my friends and family have been impacted by mental health issues in their life.
Absolutely. Mental health is such a prominent issue that's it's kind of hard to tackle, and we see it all the time in sports of how mentally stressful it can be to play at that kind of a level.
That's a very good point.
He was always pushing himself to be the best he could be, and he was always pushing himself to be the kindest he could be, and to be there for everyone, and the world honestly needs more people like him.
Georgia's my home. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, so to be a part of history and to represent my proud state as a young millennial, as a young African-American male, I feel like it's my obligation to be here. And just to be sitting in this section is a huge honor, so I do not take this for granted at all.
Still mind-boggling to me how he's gone in a way he left, but I don't think about that. I want to think about how he lived his life, how he always wanted to help others, and I want to be able to kind of do the same in that way. So, Chris and I are out there. We love you, and we're going to do everything we can to make you proud.
I'm Emmanuel Tobe.
I'm Peter Fortunato.
And we are the current executive producers of Elon Phoenix Weekly. And I think, it's definitely a tragedy about what happened, but I think, so for me, Chris was one of the first, persons that I met who told me about Elon Phoenix Weekly, one-on-one sports, and was just such an open and friendly guy, who was just willing to give advice, sit down, and talk to you.
You think we can find on the market here?
So if you're looking for like wide receiver depth, I would go with J.J. Nelson from the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, I took a look at ESPN Fantasy, and he's only owned about 20% of leagues, and he's actually leading the Cardinals in receiving yards, 10 receptions.
Big week last week.
Yeah, exactly, huge week last week in overtime.
Yeah, and Chris to me was the first person I met at the comm school, and he embodied everything that you said. He was very open, he was very friendly, and you could talk to him about anything. And I know you and I have talked about this, and taking all those qualities that Chris had and just implying this not only as executive producers, but as general people, being that open, friendly people that anyone can go to.
What's up, everybody? This is Chris Edwards for Elon Phoenix Weekly. Now, the Elon football team is off to a tremendous start after their 35-34 victory over Rhode Island to give them their 6th straight victory. but how many people actually know about their success on the football field? Well, it's time to find out on this edition of Man on the Street, Elon Football Edition. Oh yeah.
Chris Edwards was not only a light to Elon University, but a light to this world. Chris and I co-hosted Elon Phoenix Weekly during our last year at Elon together, and we filmed at 8 a.m. on Monday mornings. And every Monday, Chris would come in with his little pep in his step, and if you knew Chris, you know what walk I'm talking about. With a smile on his face and a funny joke to make us all smile a little brighter. Coming up on Elon Phoenix Weekly.
Set your alarm. It's almost time for basketball here at Elon. We bring you Late Night with the Phoenix.
The women's basketball team gets set to defend their CAA title, and the men look to continue their growth from last season.
Plus, we give you a chance to test your Elon knowledge with lots of trivia.
And we continue to look at the spark that has driven the football team this season.
We got all that and more next on Elon Phoenix Weekly.
Chris showed love to everyone he came in contact with, kindness, and always a word of encouragement. He will be missed, and we do this for you. Fly high, my friend.
We have all that and more next on the Elon Phoenix Weekly.
The culture of Elon is what makes it special.
High of 87 and a low of 66.
Your time at Elon is this sort of bounded special moment. We have a word for it in anthropology. It's called the liminal. And that's where the magic happens. That's where people change. They transform.
It's a mind-blowing experience. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Edwards broadcast desk from the Jane and Brian Williams studio.
And welcome to the new fall season of Elon Phoenix Weekly.
I'm Tellier Lundquist. I'm a sophomore here at Elon, and I'm really looking forward to creating new, fun, and interesting content this year. To my right is our newest addition to the desk, Taylor Schmitt.
Hey y'all, I'm a freshman at Elon from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm super excited for this season and to be a part of the team.
This year on Elon Phoenix Weekly, we want to bring more inside and interesting information to the show. We are debuting new segments, including how-to segments and golf cart interviews. But don't worry, we kept everyone's favorite, the trivia question of the week.
One new segment we're excited to start this season is the Game of the Week, where each week we will be highlighting one of Elon's top performing games.
Our first game of the week is the women's soccer team taking on UNCW, a team they haven't had the most success against, with an all-time record of 0-12-2 coming into last Thursday's match. Not only was the game a huge stepping stone for the program, but Elon's former coach, Chris Neal, was at the helm of UNCW, the winningest women's soccer coach in Elon's history. We'll take a look at what went down in that game. Tellier gets a through ball late in the first half, cuts past the keeper, and sends it into the net, giving the Phoenix an early 1-0 lead. Doherty later in the second half sends it into Paradowski, who bullies the goalkeeper, and just like a Ziploc bag, gonna seal the game for the Phoenix, put them up 2-1 late in that second half.
With more from the game, we are here with Elon soccer correspondent Ashlee Brackett. Ashlee, what were some takeaways from the game?
The heart that Elon gave in the game was incredible. After the game, we talked to Coach Neal, and he said that at halftime, he told his team that it was less about the ballet of the game and more about the battle. They had to get rid of the spectacle and just get down to playing physical, aggressive soccer. They were led by Jessica Tellier, who came in midway through the first half and just provided a spark on offense with 2 great goals, including the dagger in the 88th minute to give the Phoenix the game. You also have to admire the game that Katrine Hawksdotter had with 5 saves and only 1 allowed goal against a UNCW squad with 19 shots.
Elon has had a really great start to the season. What are some things Elon can keep the momentum going to finish off the season?
Elon has to keep up the aggression on offense in the future games, having so much talent on that side of the ball. This year, they have had 8 players with 4 or more shots on goal and 6 players who have scored 2 or more goals. Carson Jones, Taylor Paradosky, Jessica Tellier, and Sarah Bevington will have to continue to be aggressive on offense, and Hannah Doherty will have to continue to facilitate for the team. The CAA is stacked, with Hofstra, Charleston, UNCW, and Delaware all having above a 500 record. However, if Elon keeps playing on both sides of the field like they are playing, they should be just fine competing in the CAA.
Well, Ashlee, thank you for joining us today.
With such a hot start to the 2019 season, our first trivia question of the year regards Elon women's soccer. This week's trivia question: Elon's 7-2-1 women's soccer record is the best 10-game start for the program since what year? We'll answer that later on in the show.
And when we come back, we will be introducing another brand new segment to Elon Phoenix Weekly. And trust me, you will not want to miss it.
Coming into college, I knew that I wanted to do some kind of journalism in broadcast capacity has to do with sports.
I also come from a big sports family. Everyone else went to really big ACC schools, and I wanted that, but on a smaller scale, and Elon provided just that.
I loved their communication school. I loved how innovative it was, what they were doing here. All of the amenities they have, the studios and cameras, was super appealing to me.
I accepted Elon just because, I was kind of eager and just really wanted to just start getting into it. And Elon really gave me the best opportunity.
I just got an email after I was accepted, and they said, hey, do you want to be part of the Maroon Sports Broadcasting cohort? And I said, yeah, of course.
Being in the cohort taught me a lot of things that I didn't even know I didn't know or was even interested in. It gave a lot of really cool opportunities that I don't think I would have gotten without being in the cohort.
I was really all in and doing really everything I could, and they really kind of jump-started me in getting the opportunities I wanted.
I'm so glad I joined these organizations, not only to gain experience, but to gain friendships and also people that I can rely on and I know that I'll be working with in the future when we're all out in the professional world.
We understand the grind and the hustle of being a sports video person. So these are the people that I'll continue to be friends with after school and also that are going to help me in the professional realm. I think what Elon Sports Vision can do is give them a wide array of opportunities and show them all of the different possibilities that are available in the sports video world.
A bigger school that's maybe more prestigious for sports broadcast, you would never get these opportunities because they're all professional guys or graduates that are trying to make it big and get to the next level. And so your underclassmen or your undergraduates don't have the opportunities that we're given here at Elon.
I think Elon Sports Vision is, a place where really anyone can just come and have that passion be fueled.
Welcome back to Elon Phoenix Weekly. Now, we've heard about the success of the women's soccer team on campus, but Taylor, how about the football team?
Well, later we will be sitting down with some of our analysts to go over our football season from the past month and the outlook for the rest of the season.
Now, before we let you talk about football, another fun new segment that we are introducing is an interview series called Tuesdays with Nori. Nori Thomas is a senior on Elon's volleyball team and will be driving people in athletics around in a golf cart, asking them questions and showing off the beautiful nature of Elon. This week, she picked up the Director of Basketball Operations, Tyler Lewis.
Okay, let me just go nice and slow for you.
I like it.
All right, so welcome to Tuesdays with Nori.
Nothing better than being on Tuesdays with Nori.
It's beautiful out today. So we're gonna go, let's go check out the baseball field and get this guy to go so we don't.
Yeah, don't hit me at all. I don't want to die today.
Right. All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself. What brings you to Elon?
Well, when Coach Stragi got the job, obviously I played with him at Butler University. He was my individual coach, so whenever you know somebody and you have a lot of trust and respect for somebody, it's easy to make that decision to join his staff, and also just being close to home.
I don't know, did you know, like, have you always wanted to coach? Should I hop in?
I like it. Move them out of the way. Set the tone. The toughest team sets the rules. I always wanted to coach.
Yeah.
Never knew I would get into it so quick, like right out of school.
Yeah.
Had a couple offers to go play overseas.
Oh yeah.
And basketball-wise. And
what made you decide not to do that?
I just wanted to get a head start in coaching. I knew basketball I can only play basketball for so long. Ball quit bouncing sometime, sooner than later. And I didn't want to come back when it was all said and done and have to start my coaching career from ground zero.
Oh yeah. That makes
and I just wanted to get a head start on the game, and obviously loving it so far.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Yeah.
You're not a bad driver waiting for the traffic.
I know, I figured these cars probably don't want to be stuck behind me. So.
No, it's okay. I mean, we may have the worst golf cart driver on our staff, Jonathan Holmes.
Oh, really?
So he's only hit a couple columns or so on a couple visits, so it's okay.
Jeez, you know, I'd love to see that between my three coaches to see who's by far the best.
So now, like, we always get nervous, and we had to revoke his license, his golf cart license, as we say, but he finally got it back, so he's doing better.
That's good to know. Got to keep those recruits safe so they can come perform at Elon.
For sure.
All right, so favorite place to go outside of campus?
To eat?
Yeah, sure, if you're feeling
All right.
I don't even know.
I don't know. I love the new place, Drake's.
Yeah, I've been there once. Pretty good.
It's phenomenal. I obviously feel like sushi, burgers, and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
We had it in Indianapolis, so that's where I think it started in Kentucky, so sort of in the Midwest when I was at Butler. Okay. So I had it before, and I was like, man, there's no way. When I heard Drake's was coming to Burlington, I'm like, why is Drake's coming to Burlington?
Yeah.
But like, I was so excited that we actually got to now have Drake's in Burlington to eat.
Yeah, and it seems to do well. It's always very busy when we get there, so.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The only negative is it's kind of loud sometimes. But,
it is, that's for sure.
But it is a great atmosphere, so
yeah.
I do love that.
All right, we'll have to get some people out to Drake's. We could do like a volleyball, basketball mixing night.
Yeah, I mean, we could take this Tuesday.
Tuesday to Drake's.
Tuesday to Drake's.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much for being on Tuesdays with Nori, and hopefully we can get more of your staff maybe.
There's no better way to spend my Tuesday than with you.
That's what I like to hear. All right, signing off.
If you want to see more from Tuesdays with Nori, stay up to date with us on Elon Phoenix Weekly and check out elonphoenix.com, the home for Elon Athletics.
Every year, Elon awards some of the best athletes in Phoenix history with the prestigious honor of being inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame. This week, we got the chance to catch up with the 4 new inductees and hear about their time here at Elon.
What does being inducted to the Elon Athletics Hall of Fame mean to you?
Being inducted means, hold on, let me think about that.
Hi, my name is Jamie Chickus. I was here from 1999 to 2003, and I played women's basketball.
I'm Ana Milian. I was at Elon 3.5 years from 2007, and then I graduated in 2010, and I played tennis.
My name is Erin Morris. I attended Elon from the years 1997 to 2001. And I played soccer, played for the women's soccer team.
Scott Riddle, 2007 to 2010, played football and baseball.
Being inducted, it feels good. Obviously, I'm proud of it.
Well, it meant a lot actually when I got the call. I couldn't believe it.
It means the world to me. It's very, very honorable, accolade to have, and it's nice to share with my family and the people that I played with.
This is one of the biggest honors I've ever had because I played basketball for my entire life, so it just kind of feels like all the hard work I put in and the sacrifices my family made are just all paying off, and it's a big celebration to be receiving this award.
I feel like I don't necessarily think it's mine necessarily. I think it belongs to the whole team. I know that sounds a little cliche, but I really do mean it. I think it was a team effort for us to be as successful as we were.
I was amazed and I was so excited to be back 9 years after I graduated, so it's like a dream to me.
Elon Phoenix Weekly wants to congratulate these individuals on their accomplishments both on the field and in the classroom while here at Elon.
Don't forget, still coming later on in the show, the answer to this week's trivia question. When was the last time an Elon women's soccer team had 7 wins in their first 10 games?
When we come back from break, we turn to the lounge to talk about this football season with some of our analysts. Stay tuned.
I didn't come to Elon to check a box or to fulfill requirements, to study conventionally. I came for the experiential components. I came for the people.
If I had to pick something that I'm taking from Elon, I want to take that can-do mentality. I don't think the world needs another person talking about how many problems we have. I think the world needs people who are going to go out there and do something about them.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Elon Phoenix Weekly. I'm Taylor Schmitt and the first month of football has come and gone. It's been a chaotic month with tons of ups and downs. Here to help us break down the madness, we have a stacked football panel of Emmanuel, Tobe, Javik, Blake, and Owen Gunn. How's everyone doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
I'm glad. Thank you. Well, Elon has had a tough September, losing to North Carolina A&T, Wake Forest, and JMU. What are some good things that stood out from this first month of football?
Well, I think the number one thing that stood out is Davis Cheek. Last year, he missed the last 5 games in the season with the torn ACL. Comes back this year, and he's been on fire. 71 for 130, 9 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So if you take out the Wake Forest and the JMU game, he's 48 of 80 with 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. We see him, he's trusting his knee out there, which is huge, coming back from an ACL injury. And the way he's seeing the field, he's able to scramble outside the pocket, which he's had to do a whole lot in the early going. It's really something that he's excelled at, and he's really carrying this offense.
Yeah, and to kind of, add to that, I think Cheek is making some big plays, and a big part of that is Avery Jones. Avery Jones has a touchdown reception each of the past 3 games, and he's a big playmaker, and Elon needs that. If they have that, they'll continue to stay competitive in games, and they'll go punch for punch with some powerhouse offenses that they'll be facing going forward.
I agree, and we talk about Elon's ability to have big plays, and you've seen that this year as well as just the ability to start early as well. Elon has scored a touchdown in each of their in the first quarter of each of their games. Look at the game against JMU, second play of the game, 66-yard bomb from Cheek. Elon's ability to really start fast and start strong, to me, that's something that has really stood out.
Well, on the flip side of that, what are some things that this team can improve on this season?
Well, I think for one, it's defending against the run. Right now they're being outrushed 935 to 532, as well as 12 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns. I think it's just stopping the run. They played some great running backs, I'm not going to lie, including A&T, JMU, but they just have to stop the run, especially in the CAA where we have a lot of talented running backs.
And talking about just talented running backs, a lot of talented defenses as well, especially defensive lines. And really the part this team struggled the most is their offensive line is broken down time and time again. The JMU game this weekend, yes, they're ranked number 2 in the country, and the only reason they're not is because North Dakota State, for some reason, hasn't moved up to the FBS after really running rampant in the FCS for the past 10, 15 years. But the offensive line is really a point where they've struggled. They're only rushing 110 yards per game. Cheek's been sacked 12 times, including 5 this past weekend. 147 yards between Wake, JMU, and A&T. The fact that Cheek's been pressured this much, the running game can't get going. If this team wants to win some ball games down the stretch, and they're going to need to make the FCS playoffs, this offensive line has to stay strong.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I think if the offensive line gets stronger, then with that, the running game's going to get better. And we really need to see Breland Cyphers get going. He's a good running back. He had 3 carries for 38 yards yesterday. With the volume he's getting, he's been producing. So definitely need to pound the rock a little bit more, give it to Cyphers, and he'll do the rest. I think the key based on that is to just generate like longer, more sustainable drives. We can't rely on our big playmaking. It's certainly something good to have, but we definitely need to be able to drive the ball down the field and punch it into the end zone.
Yeah. Well, they finally made it out of September, but now have 6 straight CAA games. What are some things that Elon can do to get a play in the FCS playoffs?
Well, I guess one thing that I think that we need to do is win on the road. I mean, yes, again, we've had a tough schedule, and I don't think we can harbor on that enough with the teams that we have played. As you said, the teams that we lost against combined record of 12-2. I mean, we have played some tough opponents, and the schedule, again, we have to win on the road. Right now we're 1-2 on the road, and we have tough away games at Towson and at Rhode Island. So I think looking at who we're playing and looking at how important those games are, we've got to get some dubs out there.
Well, you got to assume that 7 gets you into the FCS playoffs. 6 gives you a fighting chance. The only reason they got in with 6 wins last year was because the game against William & Mary got postponed because of the hurricane, and that's what the committee saw as a win for Elon. So they need to get to 7 wins. You assume the game at the end of the year against Towson is basically going to be a Towson victory. Towson is ranked in the top 10. And we saw how it went the last time they played a top 10 offense in JMU.
I would assume that. I mean, look at that.
But if you look at their schedule, you have UNH, Delaware, URI, William & Mary, and Maine. The only team with a winning record out of those 5 teams is Delaware, and they're 3-2. Their only loss are to NDSU and Pitt. So if you look at this team, their next 5 games, they could very easily go 5-0, and at that point, you're gliding into the playoffs. And then you take that momentum against Towson. Hopefully, if you're an Elon fan, they beat them, and then you go gliding into the playoffs, and maybe they even end up with a home game.
Yeah, I think the key here is to take it one game at a time, obviously. They're going to have to win a certain number of games to get in, but obviously it goes without saying that a loss to UNH would really be detrimental to their playoff hopes. I think something for Elon to focus on is really shutting down some of the top guys on the opposing teams. I mean, we saw, especially against the run, they really struggled, and Jawan Hamilton really ran all over us last game. So if we can really shut down the run, I think we'll be in a good place to, come out with a win. And Evan Gray for UNH is really pounding the rock really well right now in the running game. So if we can stack the box and shut him down, I think we're going to be positioned to get a victory.
Well, and especially with UNH, the big thing they have to do is they have to focus on not making this slide worse, because they've lost 2 straight. Yeah, they've played really good teams, but mentally, you've lost 2 in a row. If you lose 3 in a row and it starts piling up, then they're in very good danger of not making the FCS playoffs for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, well, this season has definitely flown by fast. But if you missed any of the best plays of the year, don't worry, we've got you covered. Here are some of the best plays of the first month of the 2019 football season.
We say good evening on a fantastic early September Saturday evening from E. Claiborne Robbins Stadium in Richmond. And the first kickoff return of the season for the Phoenix goes for a touchdown. Snap, straight drop, here comes the pressure, and down he goes. Here comes the pressure, he'll shoot one out over the middle, and it is intercepted. Cole Coleman snap, Jake, play action to McNair, roll in the pocket, got a man out there, pass caught, Weeks, breaks away from the defender, 10-5, touchdown Elon. Looking, got a man out there, passes caught, Cole Taylor, touchdown.
We want to thank our panel, Javik, Blake, Emmanuel, Tobe, and Owen Gunn for joining us here. But guys, stick around, I have a trivia question. Are y'all ready?
Oh, of course.
Oh, we're ready.
Well, Elon's 7-2-1 women's soccer record is the best 10-game start for the program since what year?
Well, I did put this in my spotting board for the game.
We don't know.
The answer, 2015. If you missed anything or want to see any packages again, check us out on youtube.com/ElonPhoenixWeekly. Head to ElonPhoenix.com to learn more about upcoming games and exciting successes for Elon Athletics. And don't forget to tune in next time for another exciting episode of Elon Phoenix Weekly. On behalf of our producers and crew here at the show, we hope you have a great weekend.